Okay. Hello. Um, future audience. There's no audience here this evening, but I'm a show must go on girl. And it'll also make me feel less guilty about all of the eggies I'm going to consume. I know there was like a bit of a debate I noticed this year, um, versus Cadbury mini eggs versus the Hershey eggies. So I had never had those before, and I thought, oh, I want to see which is better. I have been converted. Um, the Hershey's eggies are larger and they pack more of a crunch and they have more of a milky chocolate taste. So I've been won over. Anyways, it's Friday night. Friday night, lazy gardener chat time. There's nothing more I love than to talk about gardening and all things gardening and some of my favorite stuff. So I did get a couple questions earlier, so I'm going to answer those questions. And I did take out a few uh, items that I wanted to show you that I'm really, really excited about. So I'm going to do that and then probably just call it a night. So make this a video available for if anybody wants to see it. And it's also really good practice for me because I always put doing this off. I loathe making large PowerPoint presentations and putting all the hoopla in behind, sorry, making this happen, but I want to get into this doing this regularly, and so you have to start. Anyways, I did get a question, and I thought I'd start off. I'm actually going to leave that probably towards the end. I wanted to kind of start off just with it being seed season and seed starting season. Um, and it's actually even for some seeds, it's a little bit late, and for some seeds, it's perfect timing. I know for people that are growing vegetables and that know about tomato plants and peppers, you really want to get those growing in February. And when you're learning about seeds and you're learning about reading seed packages, you're always going to want to check your last frost date, and it'll tell you there's how many days to harvest, and it'll tell you how many weeks before your last harvest, or sorry, your last frost date, as to when to start sowing something directly either indoors with grow lights, usually. And I have my setup, one of my crazy setups behind me. I lost a couple lights this year, so it's mayhem, and I haven't been able to get them reset up yet because I was been blessed doing a couple weddings already this season, which I love, but it I haven't been able to get my lights fixed. So um, I do suggest looking at LED lights. There's a couple I love off Amazon that are very easy to use and very user friendly. Um, I didn't get lights for a long time, and I thought it would be really hard to do, and I wouldn't be able to set it up. And I was like, how am I gonna drill holes up there and hang up lights and do this and that? Oh my goodness, they come on chains with like little hooks, and you can use, what do you call them? Zip ties if you need to, if you're in a pinch. Like, it couldn't be more easy for some of them. So look into it. There's also stands. I also have stands, like there's LED lights that actually will have a big clip onto a desk, and they're not as powerful. I don't recommend them as much as getting like proper hanging LED lights from above, but they'll have a clip, something like that on the side of it, and it will just go onto your table or whatnot, and you can use those. Sometimes they have multiple arms, like a hand of lights. Each one of those would be an LED light. You put something underneath of it. Usually they're not as strong, and it's as difficult to direct them exactly how you need them to go. But if you're just getting started, you're looking for seeds, make sure that you check out your local seed libraries, as well as, I know everyone loves, like, you see them, the big seed displays are set up now, and all the gardening centers have the most beautiful seeds. And I always make sure that you try to, if you're going to buy seeds, support local businesses. And we have so many beautiful, like, family owned, long time owned local family businesses around here. Um, if anyone's interested in some of my favorites, I'd be more than happy to share a list of that as well. If you follow me on Instagram, I'm constantly sharing the posts and the sales and the events of some of the family locally run businesses around here, because I think that's really, really important. But you can get free seeds. The Royal Botanical Gardens in Burlington has an amazing free seed library, and you can go onto their website and look up exactly what they have available. And it is on a first come, first served basis. And they do hope that you harvest your seeds and ask if you can contribute back to the library at the end. I'm just looking for one of my packages to give you an example. Of course, it's not. I've taken out my entire seed collection, and of course, so nothing's jumping out at me. But what I do have, oh, here I do. So from the Royal Botanical Gardens, I do have some Vesper Iris here. These were seeds that I had from, this is so old. This is from 2021. And it says bloom opens around 4 o'clock, lasting until dark. It closes and falls off. So they have sword-shaped leaves, perennial, pink to purple. It tells you how tall they grow. It tells you the germination code, the year. It's quite lovely. So I also love going to Green Venture. Green Venture specializes also in native species, which is fantastic. If you want to start a new garden, a new pollinator garden, and you're not really sure where to start or what to do, check out what they have. I find to check out what they have and research the plant first before you just start throwing seeds everywhere. Because some native plants are a little bit different to grow than your typical annual. A lot of them are perennials, and they're so beautiful. There's so many beautiful seeds, but I say this about all seeds because even what you get from the garden center, always research, always research. I've learned that the hard way. I moved got my first garden in my first real owned by me, full creative direction, full creative control in 2016. And I had no idea. I didn't know what I didn't know. And I ripped out so many beautiful things, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I put in a lot of stuff that I regret. And as a master gardener, I've been blessed to listen to so many different speakers that come to our meetings and go to different conventions and conferences and hear different speakers. And there's another master gardener, I can't remember her name. I think she gives a presentation called The Garden of Regrets. It might be Helen Battersby, I can't remember, but she's a fantastic speaker. If you ever have the opportunity to see her at any point, please do. She's great. But there's so many different native species. So this one is wild. This one I had here was wild bergamot. Beautiful, beautiful. I also have Monarda, which I love. Which I think the common name is bee balm, but I don't remember. I'm a relatively new master gardener. I've only been a master gardener now, I think, going on to maybe 3 years. But you can get tons and tons and tons of seeds for free. You don't have to spend a lot of money to start your own garden. It's not necessary. And there's so many Seedy Saturday events that are still happening. If you look at following Seeds Canada on Instagram, they have a regular listing of what seed swaps are still happening. And also the Hamilton Public Library has a really great seed library as well. And a lot of the times you can see sometimes in advance what is being listed. So you can see what they have. And then order them. It depends how it's organized. Like with the Royal Botanical Gardens, you can actually go and see, and they have a full alphabetical list for what's annuals and then the listing for perennials. And you can kind of put your request in for your top, I think it's top five from each one. And then from there, they let you know of what they have, what you can pick up. And I think it's within 3 days, it's there for you. It's fantastic. So when you're starting out, and they have vegetables too. So, and I think I can't remember the rules, but I believe it's quite good because I think they are resistant to hybrids, which is very, very good. There's different types of seeds, and there's always, with every topic, a lot of controversy about different things. And with seeds, there's a lot of controversy about non-GMO seeds, genetically modified seeds, and also hybrid seeds. And hybrid seeds is something that people are really sort of steering away from when it comes to vegetables and different types of plants. So just something to think about. But now when it gets to be time to start growing your seeds, you get to have the choice of whether you're going to do direct sowing, which is really, really exciting. If you've got your space, you've already got your garden area ready to go, or if you're using container gardens, whether you're going to be starting inside, doing seedlings with lights, or if you're going to be overwintering. Overwinter gardening is very, very popular as well. So there's a lot of different choices and things to consider. I do a little bit of both. As I said, I didn't know what I was doing when I first got my first garden, and I actually threw down seeds everywhere. And I'm still waiting for several biennial seeds that I didn't realize were not going to really grow and flower properly until the second year of their lifespan, to just surprise me one year. I think that is going to happen. But I have all kinds of different ways right now. I am in the throes of um, corm and tuber season, actually, and I was so excited just to show you a bunch of corms, ranunculus corms that I had soaking, and I accidentally left them soaking so long. They rotted, they turned moldy. It was terrible. I was like, what is that smell? Where is that coming from? It's not this dog, it's not that dog, it's not the cat, it's not this kid. So it was the corms. They had gone moldy. So throw those out. But I do have extra ones I can show you. And I do have dahlia tubers that I can show you as well. And also, I mean, I think you um, saw what some of the seed packs look like, but here is, that's a different one, catnip. Just before we move on, if you have any questions about your seeds, a lot of the instructions are just always on the back of the package if you aren't sure, and just always Google it if you aren't sure. If you are Googling for information and you ever see the extension of your search result and it says .edu dot, the short form name of a university answer, that's usually a very well researched document and information there. So I would always trust that. So for example, here is a package of my sunflowers, and it tells me that it's an annual, and it tells me whether it needs full sun, part shade, or whatever lighting it requires, which is really, really important as well. These are the things you want to start off if you're starting a new garden, or if you're planting new flowers in your existing garden. What am I going to plant here? What's going to grow best here? Is it very windy here? Is it going to need support, staking? A plant that is going to grow really tall might need a pole to support it as it grows. What kind of soil do I have? Like where I am right now, we have a heavily based clay soil, so it does need some working. I try not. Hey. sorry about that. Something just scared the crap out of me, and I had to ask my husband if he heard it too. Anyways, but it'll also tell you how deep to plant your seeds. Some seeds will not grow if you put them in the soil. Some seeds need to lay on top of the soil, um, and to get the light from the sun. And if you cover them with soil, they won't grow. Some people, when they have seeds like that, they like to you take a little bit of vermiculite, um, and cover them with that because it's a very light substrate and it will just, sorry, I'm holding this bag here, expecting you to be able to see it. This is vermiculite, which is holding some of my dahlia tubers in it. It's light and fluffy. Um, it holds moisture predominantly. That's what it's used for, is to keep things alive. And I'm so happy because these dahlias are waking up. And that is an eye that is growing. You can see that they're sticking out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pot these up and I'm going to take these cuttings once they're big enough and I'm going to have more dahlias. I'm going to keep them. I'm really happy to see they're looking happy and healthy. Um, if they were not doing this, they would probably be moldy and not looking so good. But yeah, when you have seeds that need light to grow and can't be planted underground, you don't want them to blow away. And so you can't put soil over top. Soil is too thick, soil is too dark, the light can't get through it. So, and you also don't want the birds to eat it. So a little bit of vermiculite with a little bit of spray of water is often what is done to keep your seeds where you want them to be. And if you're starting seeds inside, there's like several ways to do it. It depends what you're growing. So I use seedling trays and I start plants early depending on what it is. Some seeds don't transplant well, and some seeds, it is not worth the time to transplant them. So I know that some people, for example, spend a lot of time, and that's fine. Everybody's different. Everybody does what they want to do. That's totally fine. Um, your garden should be the place where you're most happy spending your time on what you want to do. I wholeheartedly believe that. Um, for me, I I prefer, for example, my zinnias, I just throw them down outside. I don't think I will ever try unless there's some magical rare variety of zinnia that I, pay some crazy sum of money for to get my hands on because they're just so rare. Those I would probably start inside and, nourish and mother and take care of them. But for the most part, you throw them down and you water them and you walk away and you come back a couple days. You're like, oh my God, they're so beautiful. For everything else, I have pots and I use pots. And if I'm not using that, for things that are hard to transplant, but you still want to start growing inside, I use these pots. I kind of try to steer away from these now. Usually I will use these for veg that don't like to be transplanted because I just kind of rip it down the middle and then just stick it in the soil and it will break through. The roots will break through and it just disintegrates, or at the end of the season, I just remove it. And if I can reuse it, I will. If I don't, I mean, I won't be able to reuse it, but if I keep them inside and I use them for seedlings and I can reuse it, I will keep them. Another way that I grow my seedlings are in these stupid, awful things, which I actually rarely, hardly ever use anymore. But there are some, so these are not full enough yet. These are really tiny, the little Jiffy pods. I get these at Walmart like for a box of them for like under $5, I think, last time I bought them. But I have a big bag of these, and you put them in the little, they pop right out. I wish, there we go. Is it showing? I don't know if it's showing. Anyways, they pop right out, and then you pop them in there, and then you pour run water on that, and they fill up like huge. They poof up. And some seeds need a soil alternative. They don't want to grow in soil. And so I believe, I can't remember if, I think that's peat. And that's one of the conversations where there's quite a bit of discussion around the merit of using peat anymore and how perhaps the use of peat has become um, not good, basically. And we should avoid it for the environment and for several other reasons that it should be avoided. So I don't buy those anymore. I've got what I bought a whole bunch when I was learning and growing and experimenting and going to school during the pandemic. And so I'm just basically using up what I already have. Um, and then I have my trays, which I can show you. In trays, I have different styles and different types, and I reuse those as well. So this is just one example of my seedling trays. I don't have a bottom on this one, but these are just a few early tomato seedlings that I have not been taking care of, that I've been completely neglecting, which I will do better about. But there's one that has a bottom. You think it would have been? So a lot of the flowers that I grow don't actually need to be started as I'm behind this year, which also behooves me as well because um, it saves me from planting them too early and having them die, which I am prone to doing. But this is another one of my seedling trays. So I grow a lot of flowers. I plant a lot of flowers. I grow a lot of flowers, and I also lose a lot of flowers. It happens. So I get these trays, really good, strong ones from William Dam out in Dundas, and their bottoms are the best. Like their seedling trays are very good. A lot of people right now are into soil blocking, which is it's better for the environment. And I'm just not there yet. I'm just not at that level of production yet. Um, oh, yes. Another um way I grow things. So these are the ranunculus corms that I was pre-sprouting, which I love. They are so beautiful. So I basically, I don't know if you can see this side. I'm not doing a very good job of this, am I? So I'll take a tray just like this, and I basically fill the bottom all the way across in rows. This is full, absolutely full of ranunculus corms. And some of them have started to sprout, which tells me they are rooting. And I'm very happy I'm pulling one out to show you right now. Because it's time when they start flowering or when they start sprouting. Hopefully you can see that. You see all those little stems, little white roots coming out through the soil, and these are the flowers on top, the green parts, or not the flowers, but where it's going to be everything growing from there, like that. And so I will probably use one of my black pots, but I will pot that up, and each one of these will be a beautiful little ranunculus. I'm gonna put that back in there very loosely for now because I don't want to damage the other ones. I have one, here we go. I have one sitting on the top. And it didn't get planted deeply enough. I'll probably plant that a little bit deeper. I don't know if you can see that either. But this is what they look like. They look like little teeny tiny spider aliens. They scare my children. Um, but they come very dried out. And if you buy them, if you order them, um, they come very dried out. And then I soak them in water for a couple hours, not a couple days. Don't do that. Don't make my mistakes. And then I plant them all up like this. So this is probably about a 50 ranunculus in that tray. And it's the same thing for an anemone. I do those as well. And these are all early annuals, very spring loving, cool weather. And it's the same thing for a couple other annuals I do like that as well to get them started. But things you really want to consider, you got to remember with all of your plants really when you're starting your garden is just light? Does the plant need full sun? Which means 6 hours. When something says it needs full sun, it does mean 6 full hours, like blasting sun. So when something says part sun, it usually can get by with the 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock afternoon sun until about 6 or 7. That might be enough. And if it says part shade, typically you need shade. Some plants that I didn't, I had to move around. I think it was my Spiria? No. Oh no. I can't remember the name of it. It was so beautiful. One of my gorgeous, beautiful, beautiful bouquet added flowers, like a filler flower. I wish I'll remember the name of it and I will add it to the chat later. I didn't believe that it needed part to full shade, and I didn't put it in part to full shade, and it suffered. And then I could see the difference from the ones that I had in the back and the ones that I had in the front, and what a spectacular difference. Um, so sun really, really does make a difference. I highly suggest checking out the onplant.ca, onplant.ca website. They have a really good rundown of all kinds of different native plants. They sell native plants. They're a local business. You can actually go and pick up, I think, from their location. I've driven out there. It took me maybe 20, 25 minutes. They're not far. And they actually sell like kits for you if you're not sure what you're doing and you want to start native pollinator garden or just add natives to your garden. They have sections you can click. I have a sun garden. I have like I got a lot of wet areas. I want a lot of shade, whatever you click on what you're looking for. And they've put together these beautiful collections of plants, flowers, and you can order it just like that. You don't even have to know really very much about it, which is fantastic. And they have details, and they have shrubs, and they have trees, and they have so many beautiful, beautiful things that you can order. So I highly recommend checking them out, especially if you just want to buy the actual plants and are not prepared to grow from seeds. It's really probably one of the best ways to go, as well as a lot of there's if you go on the Master Gardeners website, we also have the Halton Master Gardeners keeps I think it's a Google map, but there's definitely a listing, and then if you each listing I think has a link to a Google map, but it's all of the um gardening centers in Southern Ontario that sell native plants. And I think there's actually a percentage of native plants that have to be sold. So it's like you can't just sell, oh, I sell coneflower, I sell echinacea, put me on your native species plant list. It doesn't work like that. Like you actually have to sell and care, a little bit. More than a little bit is what I'm trying to say, which is fantastic. It's an excellent resource. I highly recommend go to the Halton Master Gardeners webpage, check it out. I think it's on their Facebook page as well. If you aren't part of the Halton Master Gardeners Facebook page, highly recommend. Even the Ontario Master Gardeners Facebook page, very fantastic. The people that will answer your questions all the time. I've been talking for a lot and I'm by myself and I'm realizing that right now. So the last thing I'm going to say about pollinator gardens, and I always get a little bit of flack when I say this, but it's true. I really do believe that everybody's space is their own and everybody's space is very different. And I'm going to preface this by saying I love birds. I'm crazy for birds. Anytime there's a chat, one of my favorite speakers, Kevin Kavanagh, is around or doing anything, I'm all ears. I'm in. Last night, all over the mysteries of migration with Bob Bell in Burlington, couldn't get enough. I love birds. I do as much as I can for the birds. Well, I mean, I'm sure I could do more, and I'm gonna try this year. But when you're planting um, flowers, native species in your garden, and you're not used to it, you haven't done it before, and you plant things like coneflower. This is from my friend who sent me a question. Things like I want to say black-eyed Susan. There was a couple other things that um, you're encouraged as gardeners with native species to leave everything, not to trim everything down. This is the new culture of gardening. We support our pollinators, our bees and our insects, and support biodiversity and the entire eco web that lives, around us. And um, to do that, one of the best things that you can do is leave the the seed heads for the birds, because they need that food for the winter. They need to survive. And other parts of the plants, you know, they need the stems and the stalks, and the leaves. It's all part of one huge ecosystem, smaller eco web as well. And I completely agree with all of that. But as a garden owner, I sometimes do have to trim and deadhead some areas of my garden with some of my plants that are prolific growers. And I didn't know that with, initially starting out, I didn't know that in terms of maintenance. And I left everything. And I have echinacea growing in all sorts of places all over the, like, where I don't want it. Excuse me. And I do want to have as many, as many native species as possible wherever I want. But they're growing through parts of my driveway now. So necessarily, I don't necessarily want that. But um, I do want them to be in as many places where I can take care of them and give them the best space of my property. Now, my neighbor is like, thanks, Christine. Anyways, um, the other thing I want to say is to be very, very careful when you're buying plants at garden centers. And sometimes the labels are very, very misleading. And it is super, super easy to buy invasive species. And you will regret if you don't take that hot second to open your phone and Google, is whatever I'm buying, an invasive species in Ontario. And there are, sorry, my Google thinks I'm talking to it. It'll come up really fast. You should be able to find it really fast. And if what you see, what you like, is an invasive species, there's a document called Grow Me Instead, or there's also, I think it's also a website as well, Grow Me Instead. And there are several suggestions for like every single possible plant that you could want, that are really beautiful to choose from. Or take the time to find something else that you like, because you will regret it, and you will regret it for years and years and years to come. And I think, and if you don't really understand why invasive species are a problem now, take the time to learn about it, to listen. Um, I highly encourage everyone to join their local gardening club. They have amazing speakers every month. It costs like $15 to join. Because I'm a member at my garden club. No, I'm a member at like more than one garden club because I'm an addict. But like at the Stony Creek Garden Club gets me 10% off at Winona Gardens. It gets me 10% off, I think, at Rubio's. And then the other one, I can never say it properly. Something Ciardios. Oh, I get it wrong. I'm so embarrassed. There's 3 or 4 garden centers that I get a discount off like all year long, in addition to like every month 1 hour educational topics from like masters of their field, amazing speakers. It's fantastic, and the community is just so beautiful. Like, it is just a beautiful community of people, and they always have coffee. um so yeah, there's so much more I want to talk about, but I'm going to save it for another day, because again, now it's been 45 minutes and I'm alone. So happy gardening. Good luck. I don't know if we're in for an ice storm or what. I don't know what's happening, if we're having our third big spring. Anyways, stay safe, stay warm, stay dry, pray for warm weather, and that's all I got.